Air conditioning was about to transform modern life, and the person largely responsible was Willis Carrier, who started off working for a company that made fans.
Carrier is sent to Brooklyn for a very special job in 1902. The company that publishes the magazine Judge, one of the most popular full-color magazines in America at this particular time, is having a huge problem. It's July in Brooklyn, and the ink for which they use on their beautiful covers is sliding off the pages. It will not stick because the humidity is too high. Carrier, using some principles that he's been developing as a young new employee of this fan company, finds a way to get out the July 1902 run of the Judge magazine, and from there he begins to eventually build his air conditioning empire.
It's based on a simple principle.
Control of humidity through control of temperature. That was Willis Carrier's idea.
He used refrigeration to cool the water vapor in the humid air. The vapor condensed into droplets, leaving the air dry and cool. The demand for air conditioning gradually grew. In the 1920s, movie houses were among the first to promote the benefits. People would flock there in summer to escape the heat.
The movies are wildly popular. And the air conditioning certainly helps to attract an audience, especially if they happen to be walking down the street on a horribly hot day and they duck into this movie theater and have this wonderful experience.
Air conditioning became increasingly common in the workplace, too, particularly in the South, where textile and tobacco factories were almost unbearable without cooling.
When employees breathe good air and feel comfortable, they work faster and do a better job.
I think some people think that these were nice, compassionate employers who were cooling down the workplace for the workers, but of course nothing could be further from the truth. That was an inadvertent byproduct, but actually this was a quality control device to control the breaking of fibers in cotton mills, to get consistent quality control in these various industries, to control the dust that had bedeviled tobacco stemming room workers for decades. I think the workers obviously went home and to their unair-conditioned shacks in most cases, and talked about how nice and cool it was working during the day.
It's silly to suffer from the heat when you can afford the modest cost of air conditioning.
By the 1950s, people were air conditioning their homes with standalone window units that could be easily installed. This wasn't just an appliance. It offered a new, cool way of life.
Walking down a typical southern street prior to the air conditioning revolution, you would have seen families, individuals outside. They would have been on their porches, on each other's porches. There was a visiting tradition, a real sense of community. Well, I think all that changes with air conditioning. You walk down that same street, and basically what you'll hear are not the voices of people talking on the porch. You'll hear the whir of the compressors.
Guess what we've got? An RCA room air conditioner. I'm a woman, and I know how much pure air means to Mother in keeping our rooms clean and free from dust and dirt.
Control of the cold has transformed city life. Refrigeration helped cities expand outwards by enabling large numbers of people to live at great distances from their source of food. Air conditioning enabled cities to expand upwards. Beyond 20 stories, high winds make open windows impractical. But with air conditioning, 100-story skyscrapers were possible.
technologies emerge which not only worked to insulate human society against the evils of cold, but turned cold into a productive, manageable, effective resource. On the one hand, the steam engine, on the other, the refrigerator. Those two great symbols of 19th century world, which completely changed the society and economy of the planet. All that is part of, I think, what we could call bringing cold to market, turning it from an evil agent that you feared into a force of nature from which you could profit.
The explosive growth of the modern world over the last 2 centuries owes much to the conquest of cold. But this was only the beginning of the journey down the temperature scale. Going lower would be even harder, but would produce greater wonders that promise extraordinary innovations for the future. With rival scientists racing toward the final frontier, the pace quickens and the molecular dance slows as they approach the holy grail of cold, absolute zero.